Yeah, that was on IGN. You got the intro tonight, big dog. Did you get perfect timing when I was about to ask if you had caffeine, which I knew you did. Dude, I had a little bit of a change of heart with this game. We'll talk about it.
Welcome back to 321 Backlog, the podcast where we talk. Oh Lord, what do we say?
Welcome back to 321 Backlog, the podcast where two friends shit talk video games real hard.
It's close. I'll try again.
Three, two, one. Backlog.
Welcome back to 321 Backlog, the podcast where we play and talk about video games from our backlog. My name is Alec, and I'm joined by the man who recently had a dick removed from his arm, James.
What's up, man? It was the smaller one, if anyone's wondering. We'll call it average.
I don't think I genuinely didn't go right to dick when I saw it. So I thought maybe like just
dude, I actually had no idea what you were talking about. I didn't even realize that we were actually discussing something that happened. I know, dude, but you know what? Once you see, for anybody listening, I got a tattoo worked on my arm, and it looks great, but some of the shading
got out of hand.
It got in hand a little bit. I just walked over to the mirror, and I swear, dude, it was like a car accident could have happened in front of me, and I wouldn't have seen it because all I was looking at was what appeared to be a dick, and no one else did see it except for me. And I saw every single bit of it, like detailed. It was like a perfect fucking wiener, dude. So I had it fixed very quickly. They completely understood. Once they saw it, they were like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
you know. But video games.
We're talking about video games.
Just talk. Well, I mean, yeah, if you want.
Oh man. So, you know, we're still in spooky season.
Yeah, I hope you guys are terrified after hearing that.
We're at the end of spooky season,
but we're still in it.
We're still in it, but this is our last spooky episode.
I think
for 2023.
I think one of our next games should be like a cozy ass game, dude. Like fall's coming in, you light a little scented candle, you get a snuggle up with a blanket and a Steam Deck. Okay, so you picked this game, correct? You want to get on topic here? Is that wait a minute?
What?
We haven't even discussed anything about this game made by Bandai or Bandai. What, Bandai? I think that's the Bandai. Yeah. They published it or developed it or something. I don't know.
Right.
It was April 2017, and then it came to Switch in 2018.
Yep. Then Stadia, then Android and iOS.
It's coming. I think it is coming to Android.
Oh, yeah. It's not here yet. That's actually really cool. And at the time of recording, this is actually the third. Little Nightmares 3 just got announced.
The trailer.
I think it's going to be coming out in 2024, but
something to look forward to.
I'm excited. I went into Little Nightmares like kind of like so, and I enjoyed it the more I played it. That had some clear issues, but I ended up finishing it, immediately paid and downloaded, and then played through the DLCs for it, and then immediately paid and played Little Nightmares 2, which I am almost finished with. I think I've got maybe less than an hour of gameplay left.
Okay.
In number 2, but we're only talking about number 1.
Yeah, because I'm not picking up the sticks for that shit.
I tell you, the issues that we're going to talk about, 2, I think, cleaned it up.
Okay. So, all right. So you played it on you played it on your Steam Deck? Is that right?
Deck. Yeah, Steam Deck.
Yeah, played well on that. You say
it's played amazing. This again, a lot of the platformers we've been playing, and this might just be the nature of platformers, have been exceptionally designed to perform and play well on mobile devices. And I mean mobile, Steam Deck, Nintendo Switch, cell phones, smartphones, stuff like that. Anything that you consider mobile that has a 16:9 aspect ratio screen ish, like that. This is like so perfect for that.
Yeah. I agree. I think that a lot of these games they're not graphic intensive, and I think that helps. Any platformer usually isn't, like, especially if it's like a 2D, 3D type, like this is not a graphically intensive game, so it lends well to mobile. It's more of a puzzle game too than platforming, so it doesn't require super, super tight controls the way that like fucking Ori does.
Ooh, fucking Ori, dude.
I just side note, I just downloaded
a relaxing game.
Yeah, boy. I just downloaded that onto my Steam Deck today, the sequel. So
now that you've got like 20 terabytes of space on your Steam Deck.
Oh, dude, there is a 20 terabyte hard drive you can buy. That's like a 20 terabyte solid state. It's only $300 Toshiba.
Solid state? Well, because it's an M.2 that's in this deck, right?
Yeah, it's an M.2 2230. Yeah, but no, there's a solid state 20 terabyte that would go in your PC, and it's like an inch thick.
Gotcha. But yeah.
I played it on the Steam Deck for a little bit, but I initially only played it on the Backbone on my phone because
that's right. This was while yours was down.
Yeah. And I will say,
how did it run on your phone?
It was good. Yeah. I thought that the game was janky, and I blamed some of it on the potential lag because it was streaming from my computer to my cell phone via the Steam Link app.
Right.
So I thought some of the jank was coming from maybe a little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
That was a fucking lie.
It was. I had issues with the controls.
Yeah. So
like right off the bat, I think what it was, because yes, it's platformer, but it lets you move in fully 360 all three dimensions through all of it. But on portions where it should be side scrolling, you have a little bit of wiggle room to do to go into the background or foreground. Right. And I think with that there was too much leeway, and you would easily just like jump off the wrong thing or misjudge the gap or something. It was poorly executed in spots where they should have just taken the freedom of 3D directional moving and made it more 2D in some spots, which they fixed in Little Nightmares 2.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I will try it.
I think they took the note.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, maybe they had more money when the second one came out. This game is pretty well liked by most people. It's like at least an 8 on every review that I saw, 8 out of 10.
Right.
I specifically remember a part that there was like a part where there's like a light thing that will kill you, and there's like a bucket moving because like everywhere you're at kind of like tends to rock a little bit, and there's like a big bucket on wheels that's moving left and right, and you have to hide behind it. That part was kind of janky, and I did get past it. And then the next room, I'm walking down these little stairs, and then my character, without really having a good sense of whether or not I'm in the like foreground or background part of these stairs, just walks off and fucking dies, and then it puts me back.
Yeah,
I felt like the game was a little bit harsh on that kind of stuff.
There were portions of the levels or sections, if you will, that it would like walking off this little plank or bridge that there was is certain death. Yes. But it would give you the option to walk off of it, and there would be no reason to do so. Yeah,
exactly. So why is it there?
And it tried doing something which I think was to get it more of like a cinematic feel. The camera would like pan out when you're going from one major section to the next to give you more of like a wide angle view of the surrounding world that you're in.
Yeah.
So it would give you more, but you would lose kind of like the detailed view of where you were on that platform or that little bridge, and easily just fall off.
Yeah, you're also like, while you're playing, you're looking around for like the next step or what you're trying to do. So it's easy to kind of lose track of a character in the whole game in general.
Yeah.
I wrote in my notes that this is Limbo but 3D, but it's not wrong, but it's not quite true.
I'd say it would be uh, in the sense of like platforming.
Platformer puzzle, yeah. It just when I first started it felt 100% like the way Limbo plays. I mean, until you start getting into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, yeah. I would say I'd probably pivot that to maybe Inside. Just
well,
from the stretches
okay,
it
dude.
made.
Inside is the same thing as Limbo, just more dead boys. This game didn't have very many dead boys.
It was implied
Well,
when you got farther in. So how
yeah,
far did you get? What was your ended gameplay? Like 20 minutes? Did you play more than I played Devil May Cry?
dude, I gave it an hour and 1.8 hours on Steam, and I actually fought through that.
Mhm.
I remember you told me that you used like a little bit of a visual guide to kind of help you through some of the puzzling aspects of it. I think you said use like you kind of had a YouTube video like handy to help you if there was a spot
I did. I played through, and then if I got stuck, if I took more than like between 5 and 10 minutes to like figure out what the hell I was supposed to do, I had a video going that I would like play once I saw them climb that little thing I missed. I would then pause the video and then I'd continue on, and then yeah. So I had it available and I was trying not to use it, but I did use it a handful of times.
That was against my moral code to do that. I think my duty as a critique artist for video games.
Yeah.
But it also really wasn't an option for me when I was the majority of my short playthrough was on the backbone, so my phone was preoccupied.
Your phone was tied up, yeah.
Yeah, and even with the deck, like when I would play it, I would play it in bed, so it's like you're juggling two devices on my lap or whatever. But
I'm gonna make you a Steam Deck belly stand with then another phone thing on top of it.
Can you make it MagSafe compatible so I can really? You know, one thing so I went into this game kind of assuming that it was basically another Limbo type of game. I was kind of pleasantly surprised that there were actually like sort of boss fights.
Yeah,
that was kind of a cool
boss
switch
challenges.
Yeah, well, yeah, which weren't in, again, comparing it to the other games of this style, Limbo and Inside, there were no boss of any kind. There was a spider that you like, but yeah, that's pretty much, and a pig, but the pig was not a lethal in my playthrough, not a lethal monster. The long-armed man was the first guy.
Yes. Sorry, I picked the worst time to put something in.
It's okay. I can ramble if you want. There's guy, long arms, short legs. You had to see it. You had to be there. What did you think of what did you think of the monster design for these guys? Like,
oh, okay. So that's something I wanted to bring up earlier. About like graphically when we were talking about that, though not graphically intense, and will probably perform very well on iOS and Android when that happens. This was a very interesting art style.
Yeah,
that I really enjoyed. Like, because we keep bringing up platformers that we've recently played. Limbo, mostly 2D assets. Inside, it was like low poly 3D. Like it wasn't super detailed. It wasn't super low poly.
Very silhouette.
Yeah. This one put details in the right places,
right?
But had a very unique art style to keep things creepy and almost like it was painted.
You know what it reminded me of? Claymation.
Yeah.
You know how and it's even with some of the movements, just kind of like inhuman, kind of like grotesque. Claymation can do that. It can look nasty.
Yeah.
Because of the like quicker, subtle movements. Subtle? I don't know.
And we're playing as a little, I assumed girl playing through it.
I thought it was a boy because I only I think these I thought it was just Limbo 2.5, but it is a girl. I confirmed.
It is a girl
on accident.
I didn't look any of this up while playing. I did look up a playthrough just for like backup, but as far as like plot and anything like that, I haven't looked anything up until kind of like as we're recording this. But I assumed it was a girl. I think it was like the basic shape, how it was moving.
Yeah,
more like the little very slender legs that were poking out of her raincoat. Anywho, but it's a little 9-year-old girl in a yellow raincoat that we get to play through. And we're on this massive ship, a vessel almost, on the open seas called the Maw. And we are getting through the Maw trying to either escape or just survive.
Yeah, I guess maybe I didn't. That would explain why it kind of had the like sway
Why
of
it was
the
moving.
ocean feel. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if I really noticed. Like, I guess I don't know. Maybe I didn't read the description of the game, and I'm an idiot. But I did notice the swaying coming in and out of the game, and that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So after the second set of quote unquote bosses, you end up climbing on the outside of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, really cool. But anyway, so not to go too far, we first meet our, we'll call them bosses. I think he was named the janitor.
Yeah.
This guy with like ridiculously long arms. And I believe he had a he couldn't see.
Dude.
So he like his eyes were covered.
Do you want to know why he couldn't see? Upon looking at more pictures of him, I just sent a picture. There seemed to be like a little bit of imagery where skin was like a thing with this game.
Yes.
So it seems like he has almost like a skin suit that is peeling down, and it's cut. It's like over, like the extra skin is over his eyes.
Yes.
Kind of. I mean, really good monster design.
And most of the enemies were like that.
Yeah, and it seemed like he used sniffing to kind of get you. Like you'd hear him sniff.
Yeah, and how you got around him was pretty cool because there was like these leather pads and like leather areas around. So you would like, you basically have to like move to a spot where he would catch your scent and then wait for him to notice it and then get away really quick. And then he would like try to figure out what happened while you kind of skirt away. It was very, very interesting. That one took me a while to figure out. But yeah, I didn't notice the skin thing initially with the janitor. I noticed it with the chefs.
Yeah, so
the ones after him.
Go ahead and lay that down for the
and this
listeners.
is where I started noticing like how truly creepy it was. Like, okay, yeah, there's this big gangly fucker that's like trying to get at you and whatever. You know, it was fine. There was a couple instances where you would see his face or see what kind of his face, and it looked weird, but I kept moving on. You get to the chef or chefs, like multiple.
Yeah.
And there's this one portion where the chef's there, he's like chopping up something he's butchering something, and he stops and goes to itch his face and goes underneath the skin mask and scratches whatever the hell's underneath and then that right there,
blasting
and
you
then
with
continues
some
on.
pictures.
It was that right there. I kind of like, I had to stop for a second. I was like, that is fucking gross. Like, that is creepy.
Yeah. I didn't see him do that in my game. Like, but I know we had talked about it, so I was like, I was actually kind of looking for it, but I didn't see it. But yeah, man, they were gruesome, man. They did a good job with that.
And the janitor, if I remember correctly, I believe the janitor was wrapping up things. I think he was. I don't know if you had seen what they were, but later on you find out that he's like wrapping up children.
What?
Yeah, to be... Well, I guess we don't like children because we keep playing games where they're dying. So
someone doesn't like them. I don't know.
He's wrapping up...
You picked these
We'll
games.
say human body parts, human bodies and whatever, to be sent down the line who eventually get to the butcher to then butcher up to be served as meals later on down the game.
Yeah.
And it is wild. Oh, also...
Were they butchering people? Because I felt like there was actual foods involved.
There was a mix, yeah. But like the protein, I think, was mostly human meat.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I will say there's two things we haven't mentioned. One, as you start the game, your character sees a woman, like a very slender woman wearing a kimono and
Yeah.
I don't know if this is pronounced right, a no mask, Noh. It's like the kind of like almost like a geisha mask, a very
I
plain,
interpreted it very geisha-y. Yeah.
yeah. But it's a pale white mask,
Oh,
very little features.
I don't
Anyway, but
like it.
you see her for like 2 seconds. Anyway, there's that. We haven't mentioned that. And then there were these bouts of your character becoming hungry. Did you
Yeah,
get
yeah,
any of
yeah.
those? Yeah,
Oh
and
yeah, dude.
you would kind of like you'd move on and there was like
The first thing I think he eats is like a rat.
I think it went to there was another child in the mall, like somewhere else, like behind like some barred windows or something,
Right.
that saw us and threw us a piece of whatever they were eating. So we
Yeah.
got a snack. Then it was a dead rat.
Yeah.
Then later on it became a live rat.
Yeah, things are getting out of hand quickly.
Yeah. And then I might as well spoil it now. Then it became one of the other things you see, little creatures you see along your journey.
Yeah.
These little gnomes. She grabbed one of the gnomes as well,
And then
and
there was another
like
thing.
uh,
Event you want me to just throw it out there?
well,
She does
yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
she eats the geisha woman at the
Oh
end.
yeah, at the end,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Jeez.
Well, no, okay. So I wanted to go back one more before the geisha. So
Oh,
the
sorry.
gnome she ate.
I got excited.
This was, and this is going to come up later on, this is something I love, and I'm trying to set this up for when I talk about it later because you are unaware of this. As you've been going through the game, through past things we talked about with the chef and everything, these little gnomes they kind of like hide from us, and then sometimes we can like, basically, if you find this one, like the same one enough times, it kind of like accepts you as not a threat, and it like kind of either helps you with whatever the puzzle is,
Yeah.
or you get like a collectible achievement or something. Anyway, so they become kind of like good little creatures to encounter and interact with. And she's so hungry and in this point, and there's like a handful of gnomes in this room, and there's one that's like holding I think a piece of meat or food that had,
Yeah.
and it was like oh, I know that the girl in the raincoat is good, so I'm gonna the gnome tries to like offer it to her, and so hungry and I don't know, taste for blood or whatever, she attacks the gnome.
Yeah.
And then eats the gnome. And it's kind of like, it was kind of sad and intense, right? It was a lot of emotion in that scene.
Yeah.
I want us to remember that scene for later.
Okay.
Okay. So, going back to the bosses, we get through Lanky Jim and the Fat Twins. And did you play through the chefs, or about how far did you get to?
I didn't play through the chefs.
All right. That's okay.
I'm embarrassed, dude.
No, it's
Listen,
all right.
I'm sensitive.
No, it's okay. You were in bad conditions. You know, the Steam Deck was on hiatus, and
Yeah.
was on the operating table.
Yeah. It was under
So
the knife.
after the kitchen, you basically get away on a not a conveyor belt, but like a conveyor line of like hooked. It was like basically like a clothing line, but it was on a little
I
conveyor
feel like it's
belt.
something you would
type of
hang
motion.
meat on, kind of.
Yes, yes. So that's what it was. The chefs were hanging up the already butchered children and sending them on to the next area to be prepared or feasted upon or whatever. You escape on one of those,
Yeah.
which was pretty cool. Let's see. From there, I believe that's when she left the mall, and you see it as you start climbing outside of the maw and going like higher up from the outside. The camera zooms out, and you see another ship, which is much smaller, docked against the maw, and like people are walking into it.
Okay.
Which was
I
weird.
don't
It was
know
like
if
a-
I
like a-
remember that, but
It was like a cruise ship or a shipping vessel of some kind,
Yeah.
with passengers docked to the maw, and they were shuffling in.
I do
And
remember some passengers.
as you start climbing up, once you get almost to the top, it starts zooming in, and you see these people are not walking in, they're like lumbering in. They are fat,
They have an eating
over
addiction.
grotesque. They are most of they've all got my body type, and
Nah, you're tall, dude.
yeah, there it is. It reminded me of like a very nightmarish, grotesque version of Wally.
Oh,
The
yeah.
people from Wally, how they like could, like, if they could walk, it was barely, you know?
Like if Wally was a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you see those. So then the next couple of minutes is you walking through this like receiving area of like people coming onto the boat. You see the lady in the kimono again for a brief moment, and you start having the platforming section for this portion of the game is trying to navigate these people who are monstrous in size compared to your character that you're moving around with, like eating so ravenously, and like so much gluttony is happening. It's disgusting watching the amount of like things they're shoveling into their face.
Yeah, there's something real nasty about that.
There were a couple bits where like you would walk by one and they would notice you, but they were so fat they couldn't move to get to you. But they were like going into like
I've been there, dude.
a fit of rage, trying to get to you so they could devour you.
Yeah. I liked the one that was like chasing you on its stomach.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like slumped down. Yeah. That was the part of the game that I liked the most.
I enjoyed that one as well, because
Yeah.
it was also kind of unlocking like what was kind of happening in this world. Or you're
Yeah.
starting to, there's more questions, but you're kind of seeing maybe what's happening on this ship.
Yeah, I especially liked the part where they all come rushing in and it's
Yes.
just escaping all these like fat things trying to pile over each other.
Yeah.
It had a real that was like the stakes were high kind of moment, but not it never really felt that intense leading up to that part. But that was the big chase, you know.
Yeah, so talking about bosses, or quote unquote bosses for this game, we had the janitor, a single boss. We had a pair of twin chefs.
Yeah.
And then the boss for this section, where it's the guests, was kind of the mass of guests themselves.
Yeah.
Like it was just a massive onslaught puzzle of these guests. I did really like how they did that. So it wasn't like, get through the puzzle, do this, then you find the big thing you gotta figure out how to defeat, and then you move on. It was like it was a continuous kind of thing. In other terms of games we played recently, God of War, the dragon from the cave that you're going up on the elevator, where it was it was like a boss that had stages to it.
Right.
The people, the guests, were like a constant stage of a boss within this section of the game. So I really liked how they were doing that. It was a nice break from having to do the same thing over again with a different, skinned boss. Something else. I don't know if you noticed this in any of your playthroughs. Every time you were about to get to another section, somewhere in the background, you saw the boss of that section.
I don't know. Well, I mean, I'm thinking of that part, and I guess that was obvious. But
when you first wake up, you see the lady in the kimono.
Yeah.
You start going through, and somewhere in the background, you see Lanky Jim.
I saw that guy early. Yeah.
And then when you get away from Lanky Jim, as you're like, when it's like stretching away, like the camera's pulling away, way in the background, like in a corner, you see one of the chefs like leave a room and then go the next door down.
Okay, I think I noticed everyone but that one, but
yeah. And then with the people, you're on the outside of the ship, and then you're seeing them walking onto the maw, right? And then at the end of that, when you see, and you keep seeing the lady, but she ends up being the last one, but you see her a bunch. I really liked that, where it was like, that was significant
kind of thing.
Yeah, it was done. I really liked it. And after the onslaught of people, this is where she's named Six. Apparently, I don't know where the I don't know what the significance of that is, but the little girl's
Interesting.
name apparently is 6,
Oh, okay.
and she's 9 years old. Anyway, but anyway,
Is she
6.
the sixth one? Are we pulling a Stranger Things here?
Maybe. This is at this point. That's when she eats the gnome.
Yeah.
That Stina
Okay.
told us to remember that we're still
Well,
going to
dude, I
remember
mean,
for
she
later.
would be hungry at that point, right?
Yeah.
There were also, this is a minor enemy, but the leeches was a very minor
I
enemy, but
didn't.
they were kind
Yeah.
of sprinkled at throughout. I don't know,
Yeah.
pretty standard spooky fare.
I don't know if you remember this. At one point, it might have been earlier on. I think the janitor actually catches you and
Yeah,
puts
and
you
he
in a
puts you in a
cage.
cage. Yep.
Yes. That scene of you being in the cage and there's other children around you
Yeah.
and one gets taken away. That's also relevant for later.
Okay.
This I'm getting I'm getting spoilers and setups for one of the DLCs.
Oh, that's right. I forgot there was DLC for this
Yes,
game.
which I played through those as well, and they were amazing. The
You gonna lay it
DLCs,
on me when it
the
comes?
DLCs made the game better
Okay,
afterwards.
that's good. I did. I guess actually had forgotten that there was DLCs for it. You went and bought them?
I did. They were like $2 a piece. I think I got a bundle, and it was right at or under $10 for all of them.
I really like, with just off the record, on the record, when you buy a game on Steam, if you buy the DLC later on and it's bundled, all of it comes out a little bit cheaper sometimes, and I like that a lot that they do that.
Yeah.
You probably still overpaid for it since it was for this game.
It's fine.
I'm just joking. Dude, okay, so this is a game that I think I would have thoroughly enjoyed watching, like on a TV, not on a phone, but like on my computer or something like that. I think I really would have enjoyed watching it. I don't think that I enjoyed the gameplay very much of this game.
I'm
But
trying
I
to
think
get my
it's a
wife to
very
play it.
strap in, dude.
I think she would like it. I think a couple this one and Death Stranding. I just want her to see it like fully so I can just get her. I want to see her reaction to
You
it.
want to have a discussion? Yeah, no, I get that. I do. I always talk to my wife about these a little bit too, and I think she's probably gotten tired of me talking about Little Nightmares, because I'd be like, "Oh my god, this game." I think that there was a little bit too much ambiguity with some of the puzzles. I feel like it induces a little bit too much trial and error for my taste for this kind of game. Because it's not, in this game, the challenge comes from a little bit of jank, but a little bit of not really having a good direction for what you do. There's times where you see a lock, you're going to need a key, but like, just like when you need to hide or where you need to hide and stuff like that. I feel like that's artificial difficulty, and it's obviously this is a good game because everybody seems to like it except me.
All the issues, the one you just described in most recently, in Little Nightmares 2, they corrected, but at the detriment of everything that was good in Little Nightmares 1. So what I mean by that is they corrected the issues with the controls. They gave the puzzles had much less ambiguity to them. They were much easier to deal with. Clear mechanical issues in just the act of playing the game. They made it easier to play the game. What Little Nightmares 2 lost was I didn't find enough of a variation in their enemies, you'll call them. They went really heavy on a very small amount of enemies. I feel like the Lanky Jim, whatever, the janitor was very unique and had his strengths and uniqueness. And then you went to the chefs, and they had their own unique spin on it. And then and it just kept it made every little section feel very nice and different from one another. Different enough from one another. I think in Little Nightmares 2, it kind of lost it a little bit for me, or it could have been that I think the sections were a little longer,
Right.
so I had less bosses, more killing by my character, which was interesting.
Which was expected from what I can
Yeah,
tell.
the first big boss in Little Nightmares 2 is kind of a constant threat, similar to how the horde of guests were, but it's one
Yeah.
single individual. His portion felt so drawn out, and it was the same mechanic every time you ended up encountering him, and it kind of got played out.
Okay.
But how you went about doing it, like mechanically, and how the controls worked, all those issues we had in Little Nightmares 1 were fixed.
Right.
So it was easier to play through. It was just less interesting to play.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was almost a lateral move when they went from to number 2. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen with 3. I liked both of them so far, but anyway, I just wanted to call that out.
Maybe it'll be more of an enjoyable game for me then.
Maybe. Yeah.
It sounds like I might enjoy it more.
You want to shoot somebody in the face with a fucking double barrel shotgun? Because you get
Sometimes I
to.
do. Okay.
Yeah, and
It's
you're
the
running
perfect
you're
game.
running 2 characters. I thought it was going to
Oh.
be multiplayer, but it's you just have two
Interesting.
people. Yeah.
6 and who? 7.
It wasn't 6. It was well, we're talking about
Yeah.
Little Nightmares 1. That one I haven't fully finished it yet, so I don't quite know.
Okay.
So I'm not done with it yet. But anyway, back to Little Nightmares 1. Where were we? We just gotten out of the guests.
Yeah.
And
then you have like the first kind of real actual, I mean, it felt the most like a boss fight, even though it was very simple.
the mirror.
Yeah, the mirror.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked it. Like it was interesting. At the end of it, we alluded to earlier, 6 consumes the lady after defeating her.
Yeah.
And then walks out. But one thing well, hold on.
Are you
Have we-
getting mixed up on DLC?
No. I pausing for a second. Before she gets her powers at the end, did Six show any signs of any like supernatural stuff? I don't think she did.
No, probably not.
No, okay. So I was thinking it was going to be like this has been happening the whole time, but it wasn't. I might have been getting that mixed up with something else. But so yeah, and after she like consumes the lady and like gets these, I don't know, magic powers or something, you get to do this little like leaving the area scene of like going back through the guests that are all eating and stuff.
Yeah.
And like there's like this aura of like magical power coming off of your character, and like people are coming after her and like getting their necks snapped and like dying and being pushed away and stuff.
It almost looked like they were being absorbed too. Like their power was being absorbed into her or something. Yeah.
It was kind of weird. I don't really know what to make of it.
Yeah.
And then she leaves.
Yeah. You know what, man? That scene alone kind of made me like wish that I had played. I mean, I guess it's fine that I didn't play through it, but just the ending of the game, I was like, it changed my opinion of it. I mean, it was always a little spooky or whatever, but very atmospheric.
Right.
But the actual ending of it kind of threw me for a loop about how I felt about the game.
Yeah.
So
this is what it was, because I paused a minute ago. There's one thing I meant to ask you about. Do you remember seeing there was a portion of the level, and I think it was back in janitor times, where you went through like an area that had like kids on beds and stuff? You remember that?
I don't. Yeah. Yeah, they were like old school hospital bed looking things, like the very like metal frame. Yeah.
And you could see living, we assume, children like sleeping on them and like rolling over to continue getting comfortable or whatever, but they were alive.
Right.
But anyway, you go through and there's these beds and you see people sleeping around and stuff, and then you pass them by. That's also relevant.
Okay.
So the thing I've been looking forward to talking to you about was the DLCs.
Yeah, give me a little run it down on me a little bit. I'm interested to know of these DLCs which you speak.
So it's a trio of DLCs
Yeah.
that offer a different perspective on the adventure we just did with 6 with a different character.
Okay.
So we've been playing as 6, the little girl in the raincoat. Now we're playing a boy who they just called the runaway kid. And you wake up in one of those bunks that you were crawling through earlier as 6.
And he's smaller, normal size?
And he's smaller. He's the same size as 6.
Prepubescent?
Yeah.
Okay.
So right off the bat, you get to explore areas that 6 passed over.
Yeah.
Rooms that I remember going to and seeing something. And then once we took over as the runaway kid, the room changed slightly. Maybe a piece of furniture was slid out of the way and you got to go see another part of the level.
Would you say that, do you think that they just reused the assets and changed it a little bit? Did it feel like that?
To put it in terms of like Ori and the Blind Forest, it was it was part of the level. We just didn't have that door open. So now we have it open and we can go. So it all existed, but we got to go a different way.
It wasn't the same area with a stool moved, is what I guess I'm asking.
No, like one room was to get to the area that was completely new.
Okay.
So like there was so there when we were as 6, there was a collectible in a side room.
Yeah.
And you could go under the bed, and I think, if I remember correctly, a like a slug came out, and you got around it, got out, and then you went about your business. In that same room, the slug like ate through the floor or something.
Okay.
And then you got to drop down and go into a completely different room, and there were slugs. So it was like that, but it was mostly completely different areas.
Gotcha.
So yeah, there was the nursery. That's what they called it.
Okay.
Oh, so they broke it up into 3 different DLC sections: the depths, the hideaway, and the residence. So the first one we go through is the depths, where we get to go find the granny enemy, who was terrifying.
This is on the DLC?
It was on the DLC.
Okay.
So you basically go into a section of the maw that is flooded.
Ooh, man.
Yeah. And about the same amount of time, each section maybe took 30, 45 minutes. It wasn't super, super long. You get through the granny. It's mostly the main hazard and or puzzle for this section is water and electricity.
Okay.
So
back in limbo.
Yeah, we're back in limbo. The granny is a swimming entity.
Oh.
So they're swimming around trying to get at you and stuff. So you end up defeating her by pushing a TV into the water that's like plugged in.
Yeah.
And it shocks her. And then you go on, and as you these are going to be pretty quick explanations. As you leave the granny section, you get snatched up by the janitor.
Okay.
As a little boy and put into a cage. And in the room with the cage, you see a little girl in a raincoat.
That's cool. Okay.
And then the character you've been playing as gets snatched by a really long-armed person and pulled away to a different room. So going back to when we were playing as 6, we watched a kid get pulled away in a cage. That's who we're playing right now.
Okay.
Love it. I love
that is cool. It seems like they maybe had that. Well, they obviously had that plan.
Oh,
like they had DLC plan, which we're supposed to hate, I think.
Yeah.
No, we're okay with it in this sense.
In this sense, it's okay. With because I have two more to go through. That reminded me to. I've asked my wife this. So, do you do this to your wife? I will have watched something in my life, like a show, and I really liked it, and I want to see if they've watched it. So I say, "Oh, have you watched such and such?" And then they either give me an answer. She'll tell me yes or no, and then I'll forget about it. And then 6 months later, that same show will come into my thought and be like, "Oh, hey, have you watched such and such?"
Oh, I think I have short-term memory or something.
I do that all the time.
Anyway, I do that constantly.
I have asked my wife, and I'm asking you now, have you ever watched Arrested Development?
Is that the Banana Stand show?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was on, I forget when, but then it got canceled or it ended or whatever, and then Netflix picked it back up.
Right. I haven't
So
seen any of the new
okay,
ones.
the Netflix one did something really cool where they had a very short story they were trying to tell, and every episode they added to the story from the perspective of another character in Arrested Development.
Okay.
And you would start to see like, oh, this one person is leaving the scene as another one comes in, but they didn't know each other were there. It did to me, it did a fantastic job of showing a very tiny snippet of the story they're telling from a bunch of different angles. But it was like 12 different characters. Here, it's two characters, six, and the runaway boy. But it for Little Nightmares, they did a fantastic job of like giving you moments where you know they would have been together or
Yeah.
been in the same room, similar to how Arrested Development once Netflix took it over. Anyway.
I'm trying to think if there's like other media where that happens, but I'm drawing a blank.
There's apparently another show on Netflix. I don't know what it's called. It's like a heist movie or show. It's got I don't know his name. It's like Gustavo. He's from Breaking Bad. Or no,
Baking Bad, dude.
Baking Balls. He was Gus in Breaking Bad.
Never watched it.
Really? All right. Gus Fring from Breaking Bad, who is played by Giancarlo Esposito.
You did great with that.
Giancarlo Esposito is in a Netflix show called Kaleidoscope.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
Never.
Apparently, there are 6 or so episodes of Kaleidoscope, and it is recommended, or let me rephrase that. In Kaleidoscope, you can watch any of the episodes in any order you want, and it will all make sense.
That's cool.
And I believe if you look on there now on your Netflix and I look on mine, they're not necessarily going to be in the same order. So everybody gets to see it, and it's slightly different.
Yeah. Okay.
How fucking cool of an idea is that?
Yeah, I do remember hearing like that part sparked a little bit of a memory deep in my skull. Yeah,
so
I do remember hearing something
in this
that.
realm of a way to tell a story.
Mm-hmm.
This game is doing a very simplified version of that with a few key scenes that I think just really hit it home for me. The DLC, playing through the DLC, is why I bought Little Nightmares 2. It just hit it perfectly for me. So the hideaway, after as the runaway kid, you get snatched from that cage. Then you end up wrapped up in butcher paper on a hook, ascending towards the kitchen, like the bodies that you were seeing ascending as you were playing 6. You wriggle out and break out, and then you go into an engine room, and this whole section is like getting gnomes to help you out and evade the janitor. So a more extended interaction with the janitor with a different character. So they expanded on his whole like not being able to see, smelling, all that stuff, but also calling on the aid of the gnomes as like secondary characters, as like a mass of characters.
Okay.
Oh, remember in Inside, there was a section of the game where you were hurting people?
Yeah.
It was almost exactly like that. You were going across the level, instead of looking for mindless people for Inside, you were looking for gnomes.
So
exact same thing.
Yeah. It's Inside too. The DLC.
But they were throwing in coal into a furnace to help you get to the top of this elevator that was to take you to the last part of the DLC, which is the residence. You were going to the residence of the lady in the kimono and the mask.
Oh, okay.
No. So it's going right to where the kimono lady would call home.
As I Google,
goes into more mirror stuff. You actually see her unmasked, and she is grotesque. And like deformed. The lady in the kimono.
Okay.
And had the mask on. You see her looking at the mirror and like taking in what she wants to be beauty, and she is just disgusting. And you see that, so she freaks out. and basically you kind of like evade her, but also the main enemy are like they're called shadow kids, I think, or shadow children. Basically, you have a light, like a flashlight, with you, similar to how Six did, or I think she had a Zippo, didn't she? Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think she did have like a little Zippo.
Yeah, you have to like shine your flashlight on the shadow kids, and they disapparate and all that. So you go through there. Anyway, at the end of everything, your interaction with this person, because you don't kill the lady, Six does,
Yeah.
right? So you're just getting away from her. You almost get away, and she turns the runaway kid into a gnome.
Oh no.
And then with your gnome brethren, you try to make it to a safe space, and then see coming in out of the rain
Oh no.
is a small girl
Who you've been helping.
in a trench coat that looks very hungry, and you go to offer her some food, and she fucking eats you.
Damn, dude.
Your actual character that you've been playing
Yeah.
as a gnome.
That's
So
good.
good.
Yeah.
That's so good, right? I took a good, I don't know, 30 seconds of silence for myself. Like it was just good enough. It's not like it was super emotional or anything. It was, but it was just such a good connection. It was so clean how they connected those dots. Clearly, it was planned way before. Like it matched too well.
What do you
not to be?
You have a little more experience with this series, or a lot more, I guess. What are the gnomes? What are you interpreting? Like, why gnomes? What is gnome?
Off the cuff, I would say they are.
Are they gnomes? Is that what they're canonically referred to as?
They are without the G.
Okay.
They, to me, in the moment, what I'm going to interpret, they are. You see my air quotes. They're spoiled children.
Okay.
So they weren't good enough to eat and feed the guests. Mm-hmm. So they now get to go around aimlessly trying to protect themselves, and they're just. So I think because there's so many, and because a little kid gets turned into one on screen, I think all the gnomes were children that are afraid and looking for safety constantly.
Okay.
Which is every time you encounter one, they are petrified and they run away.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's ever been canonified or anything like that, but that's how I'm going to interpret it, and I like it.
I like that too. It sounds appropriate. I've kind of touched on this a little bit. I am interested in the second game, maybe visually, maybe watching it. Mm-hmm. You obviously don't want to play the second one at all, right?
No, I don't, because I already played it.
Yeah. So
no, I actually got stuck. I need to. Oh, excuse me. I need to maybe load up a different file because I either glitched the game out or I don't understand the puzzle.
Can you pull up a video and do that?
I probably will. The second one, I have not had to watch any videos.
Oh, that's a good sign.
Which yeah. Well, at the same, it's good, but it also shows how much easier it was, I guess. I don't know. Or maybe I was in a good, I was also playing on a plane, so I had literally nothing else to do. Yeah. And I couldn't pick it up because I didn't have Wi-Fi, because airplane Wi-Fi is a fucking joke.
It is a joke, actually. It's a prank.
Yeah, it's the dumbest fucking thing in the world. Anyway.
Dude, yeah, so I feel like they probably had to have improved that a little bit, because this game wasn't a difficult game. Mm-hmm. I think it was just problematic, and so if you were able to play through the game that far without having to look anything up, they had to taken some kind of feedback and improved it.
Yeah, I also learned from the first time around, one of the things that tripped me up in Little Nightmares, one of the things I had to watch the video for, I didn't know that I could climb on something that I could climb on. That's all it was. It was a box, or it was like a stack of boxes,
right?
That, like, I don't know, there were things inside the boxes that made perfect parallel lines in the shape of like a ladder. I could climb on that. I didn't know. So I'm aimlessly walking around this room, dodging, I think, one of those lights that like dissolves your fucking flesh or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just I could climb on this box I didn't know I could climb on.
Yeah, they don't ever really show what happens
Yeah.
if you stay on the light.
You kind of like start to like
Disintegrate, I guess.
disintegrate, and then before you fully go out, it reloads the game. But
Are you the little nightmare? I bet you are.
you know that I've been because we've done this a few times. Like we haven't talked about the name of the games we've been playing.
Yeah, I don't think we even just gave it. We usually do a little intro about the game and talk about
Yeah.
it. We did not.
No.
So sorry, Mom.
I think what I was going through is because I had that same thought too. I was like, oh, are we the nightmare?
I think so. By the end of it, I
But-
felt like a nightmare.
But I feel like each thing you come across in the game are like exaggerated versions of those little things that you kind of grow up being scared of that are like tiny little things like being afraid of the dark or which which I hate thinking about this. How is it phrased? You're not afraid of the dark, you're afraid of not being alone in the dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's I don't care if it's dark. It's like, what if something's there?
Valid. That's true.
That's the thing that's scary. Anyway,
Not sleeping tonight.
I'm gonna turn the light on tonight. So yeah, because I had it before. All the janitor and the lady with the kimono and like these are all they're strangers, right? So it's like you can be scared of people you don't know. There's that
Right.
thing. The idea of are they people or are they not people? Are they eating people? Is it Soylent Green? I don't know. I think if I had fucking written notes like I was supposed to, and I was having these thoughts, like a month ago when I actually played the game, I should have written them down because there was a couple parallels I had similar to being afraid of the dark, and I'm trying to think of them now.
I feel like if at any point if somebody's ravenously eating food and it's disgusting, like it just doesn't sit well. It shouldn't.
Yeah.
Unless you're one of those people that's really into that, but I'm not.
No, this wasn't mukbang quality. This was gross.
It was gross, yeah. As it usually is. Food grosses me out in general, man. For a guy that loves to eat, like the idea of like I don't think I could be a server because I don't like I don't want to pick up someone's plate, dude. That grosses me out. And like I feel so bad for a server when they reach and they take my plate and they touch the food on the edge. I'm like, you are a different breed of person not to just fucking slide out of your skin and leave, quit your job because that happened.
Nothing in the nurse world that hits you the same way.
I mean, we usually get gloves, dude.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And yeah, I mean, I do have to pick up people's plates sometimes. And even with gloves, I'm like, ooh, man. I don't know. For some reason, body fluids are less nasty.
You can feel that gravy through the glove. It always feels wet.
I've got a story for you when we end this.
Did you tell me about the one with this is technically HIPAA, I think, but did you tell me about the one with the bed sore?
Did I?
Like years ago.
I don't know.
Where like bones were showing, or basically bones were showing through like bed sores. Was that
I've
you?
seen that. Yeah, plenty of times. Yeah, but oh yeah.
Anyway.
I don't think that's HIPAA. That's fine.
Yeah,
but you could take that out anyway.
Yeah,
if you want.
Go
Go ahead and edit that out, Craig. So okay, you enjoyed the game. Is there anything else you want to add? What was your favorite boss or favorite enemy thing?
I think I liked the chef the most.
Okay.
I liked because it's, again, these aren't traditional boss fights. So,
right. But I mean, you can still have
it's weird
or whatever.
Because why I liked the chef was more about the reaching under his skin mask to itch himself. Like the things I was noticing during his section really stood out to me. I liked the section, we'll call it level design, but the section design for that area, it was like a really grungy, dirty version of like a fantasy kitchen.
That's the shit I hate.
Yeah. So I liked the look of the area that the chef was in.
I think that was the best setting. I would agree that that was the best setting for sure.
I think I liked the for like quote unquote boss fight mechanics. I liked running away from the horde of people the most.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think that was enough, like adrenaline inducing kind of thing. I think that did it enough for me. I really like that.
Yeah, it was definitely like the most like best paced part of the game, I guess you would say.
Yeah, and by then I think I had really figured out the controls more. Like I figured the controls out a little bit better, and I could, get my running correct and slide when I needed to, and I was actually better at the game by that time. So
okay, well, is there anything else you want to say or add in? Are you officially spooked out?
I think this was a good one to end our spooky season on. It was, there are clearly scarier games out there, but I don't have the Constitution score to handle it
next year.
So, next year we'll make our next year we'll do it right.
Yeah, but
no, I really enjoyed it. I think it was creepy and kind of gross.
Yeah,
like I think some costumes centered around Little Nightmares would be really cool.
I'm wearing one.
Show me if you guys have a costume for any of the October episodes. 321 backlog Twitter, or what's Twitter called now?
X.
Send
Instagram. X us an X on X. That's not porn.
There it is.
X us an X on X, and we'll promote your post. Come on, Elon.
No, that'd be cool. I would love to see some cosplay or fucking costumes around these games that we've done.
Do I dare to look it up?
Maybe. I'm sure there is. I'd say there's probably.
It's all going to be the raincoat girl.
Yeah, that's the easiest one.
Yep, it all is. There's just it's a raincoat.
This is something that we haven't talked about, you and I.
Uh-oh.
What are we playing in November? What's our next episode going to be?
Our November. Do you have one lined up that you had interest in?
I want you to pick one.
You want me to pick one? I feel like
I'm putting you on the spot, dude.
Right now,
if you want. I mean, it'd be great. What I wanted to do for this fuck.
You just fucking glog out, dude.
What I wanted to do with the podcast when we brought games was I genuinely didn't want to know what the game was going to be until you said, or I said, at time of recording, this is what we're playing next. Because I wanted to get I wanted to get a real reaction. And this will be, I think, genuinely the first time on air that I will not know what we're going to play next.
Okay, let me look at this is rough, man. I wasn't ready for this. You should have, damn it, boy, you should have texted me. I think the next game we'll do Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. It's a shorter game.
Ooh, okay.
It seems like it might be kind of chill. And I feel like it'll kind of be up your alley. I'm picking this. I wanted to pick a game in a genre that I thought you might enjoy. It's cozy season, bro. Get cozy.
Now that works. I already have that. I think it was a free game on Epic a while back, like a year or so ago. So I already had this picked up.
I got it on
Steam
too.
Works out perfect.
So get a blanket, maybe brew a nice pot of coffee or some tea, put some headphones in, cuddle up with a cat. Meow. Let's get cozy, dude. It's fall time, buddy.
Thanks so much for listening. That wraps up our discussion for Little Nightmares. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know with a thumbs up, a comment, or sharing with your friends and family. If you're able to do so, please play along with us. We'll post upcoming games to our socials and what games are up next at the end of each episode. This has been 321 Backlog by Alec and James. You can connect with us on any of our social media pages at 321 Backlog, and also sending us an email at 321backlog@gmail.com. Until next time.